Chapter 6. The Rainbow Sneeze Catastrophe. His smallest little feeling, a quiet, feathery tickle in the nose. Abigail and Steve were sitting peacefully in the backyard, surrounded by their paints, their brushes, and the soft afternoon breeze. Today was supposed to be easy. No magic, no creatures, no chaos. Just the two of them, painting terrible little portraits of each other, laughing gently under the warm sun. Steve's painting of Abigail looked like a potato with hair. Abigail's painting of Steve looked like a loaf of bread with eyes. They loved them both. And then Steve's whiskers twitched, his ears wiggled, his nose trembled. Abigail froze with her paintbrush mid-air. "Steve, are you feeling okay?" Steve rubbed his tiny nose in slow circles. "I feel a disturbance, a fuzzy, sneezy disturbance." Abigail lowered her brush carefully like she didn't want to disturb a sleeping creature. "Steve, is this a magic sneeze?" "Possibly," Steve whispered. "No, not today, not for bedtime energy." Abigail reached delicately into her pocket and pulled out a tissue. "Here," she whispered. "Just blow gently." Steve accepted the tissue with great dignity. "I promise, Abigail. My sneezes are completely under." Chew! The tissue caught nothing, but the sneeze floated out of him in a soft rainbow shimmer, rolling across the grass like a colourful magical sigh. Abigail ducked behind a planter with a little thump. "Steve, I'm fine," Steve called softly. "You sneezed rainbows." "Perhaps I am slightly less fine," he murmured. And then the backyard began to change. The watering can fluttered gentle, wobbly butterfly wings. The rake began humming the quietest lullaby. Abigail's garden gloves hopped across the lawn like drowsy little frogs. "Oh, Steve," Abigail whispered, "your sneeze enchanted everything." Steve stared at his wand, now covered in soft pink polka dots. "That only happens with level 5 magic pollen," he said quietly. "Did we come near any pollen today?" Abigail pointed softly to the flower bed. "You rolled through that 10 minutes ago." Steve gasped, but even his gasp was sleepy. Then my sneeze was supercharged. The wheelbarrow rolled backwards slowly, like it was dreaming. The gloves climbed the tree in slow motion. A tomato plant tapped its leaves lightly, like a tiny dance. Abigail breathed in and out, calm and slow. "Okay, we can fix this." Steve reached for his spell book, which was no longer a book. It was a softly glowing neon cube, floating gently and humming a warm little tune. Abigail blinked. "Steve, your book is singing." "Yes," Steve whispered, "which means the sneeze magic is loosening things." "That sounds not restful," Abigail murmured. The cube hummed louder. "Steve? Right." "Yes," thinking quietly. He lifted his wand, but his voice stayed gentle. "There is a counterspell." "Wonderful," Abigail whispered. "Let's use it." "I can't," he whispered sadly. "It only works before the sneeze spreads too far." They both watched the tomato plant do a tiny, dreamy high kick. "Too far," Steve confirmed softly. Then Steve trembled. "Oh no!" Abigail whispered. "Ah! Ah!" "Steve, no! Chew!" Another rainbow sigh drifted out of him, painting the grass a calming sky blue, making the fence wiggle softly like sleepy jelly, and spinning the bird bath in slow, gentle circles. "No more sneezing," Abigail pleaded. "I agree," Steve whispered, but then his nose twitched again. "No, Steve, no." She reached out and gently pinched his nose. Steve's eyes widened. Hold it in just a little. But the magic built and built, and a soft rainbow glow seeped out of his ears. "That's not good, is it?" Abigail whispered. Steve shook his head carefully. Abigail let go. Steve sneezed. This time the sneeze wasn't a burst. It was a storm, but a beautiful one. A spiraling rainbow floated upward, not loud, not wild, just a quiet, dreamy swirl of colour and sparkles drifting into the sky. Everything in the yard froze in place, suspended in gentle, shimmering light. The watering can, the dancing tomato, the hopping gloves, all paused, quiet, peaceful. And then, pop, everything drifted back to normal, soft and slow. The grass green again, the tools still, the tomato plant no longer dancing, the gloves resting on the ground. Abigail exhaled. "It's over." Steve lay back on the grass. "That was terrible," he whispered. "Why do your sneezes do that?" Abigail asked softly. "Because magic builds up in my nose if I ignore it." Steve covered his face. "And the pollen? Oh, the pollen!" Abigail sat beside him in the cool grass. "We'll fix it. We always do." Steve peeked at her. "Even when I enchant your backyard?" "Yes. And turn your broom into a chicken?" Abigail blinked slowly. "What?" Balk, they turned, and sure enough, the broom was now a very confused little chicken. Steve groaned softly. "I knew I forgot something." Abigail patted his head gently. One thing at a time, Steve. The chicken blinked at them, clucked once, and slowly waddled away. Abigail and Steve stood up and followed it, their soft little footsteps and gentle clucks echoing through the warm, sleepy neighborhood.
Abigail danced in her polka dot boots, Steve by her side with his magic pursuits. A capybara with a sparkle and a twist, casting spells he could never resist. Oh Steve, the magical beast. A capybara wizard at every feast, with a twitch of his whiskers the world takes a spin. Abigail laughs as the cast begins. They turn the moon into a big balloon, floated past the stars, landed in Cancun. Steve said hola with a magical grin. Taco shells rained and the party began. He wiggled his nose, the maracas shook. Abigail sang from her spellbound book. Oh Steve, the magical beast. A capybara wizard at every feast, with a twitch of his whiskers the world takes a spin. Abigail laughs as the cast begins. They wiggled his nose, the maracas shook. Abigail sang from her spellbound book. Oh Steve, the magical beast. A capybara wizard at every feast, with a twitch of his whiskers the world takes a spin. Abigail laughs as the cast begins. He made the rivers dance, the mountains hum, turned a pumpkin into a drum. Abigail said, Steve, you're right, my friend. Let's never let this magic end.